What's up, Phase 1 fam? Phase 1B Rose, we back again. And what y'all been waiting for? I literally told y'all I was going to do a universe mode in WWE 2K. And we're on 2K24 with it. So yeah, AJ Styles, 2005 edition. And what better yet to combine some of the top stars from AEW. In this universe, we're basically acting like AEW never existed, has not been thought about. And yeah, creating a great roster to compete with the WWE. We're not going to do the invasion yet. But for AJ's first feud, we have him taking on a superstar that basically credits him for getting into wrestling. And that's the angle we're going to go with here. Will Ospreay versus AJ Styles, the feud of the century, in my opinion. Now, granted, Ospreay comes into TNA feeling very entitled, feeling that he should be paid the big bucks. But as you can see, AJ Styles is not rocking with that as a guy that has been backpacking and making TNA very relevant with his high flying ability, high caliber match quality. He is here to prove and make a statement on this young kid that is basically going on record to say, hey, I can credit AJ with basically my upbringing and getting into this. You know, I've used the Styles Clash as a big move for me, but as you can see in Will Ospreay's matches, he hasn't used the Styles Clash too often to finish matches, which I feel like dumbs down the move in a sense. But again, it's not his finisher, so I respect it. I respect him using it, but we can definitely see the influence that AJ has had on Ospreay in his wrestling style, his wrestling gear. The aura it's unimaginable with Ospreay. No glazing, no glazing, no. I gotta make sure y'all understand that. But yes, I'm creating the feud of a lifetime. I'm not going to make AJ push for the TNA World Championship right away in this universe. This is more so gonna be, I've started him off in the X division. You know, that will be what we work our way up to. We'll go X division. I also have the Legends title in there, but I mean, is it the Legends, or I think it's like the television? I forget which one I downloaded, but that's a division as well, mid-card title. And then, but I just think we're gonna go X division to World Heavyweight Championship. But yeah, so far, and I'm still adding to the roster as well, because I'm trying to see like what works and what doesn't work. And as you can see, I'm still trying to figure out the mechanics as far as like springboarding and stuff like that, because the last 2K I played before this was 2K22. The last video y'all watched me upload wrestling wise was 2K22 of me finishing the story with MJF and CM Punk. But we are going to have an arc like that continues, because he has to beat up the elite. Now granted, in this match I got the upper hand by attacking Ospreay on the ramp, which leads to this W for me over Will Ospreay. AJ picking up a much needed win to get this universe mode started. And let's just say we're definitely in for a ride with AJ Styles and his push to stardom in TNA. I'm doing it the right way. We're not moving to Mondays either to compete with the likes of Monday Night Raw. I would not make the mistake that Hulk Hogan made. But as you can see in the next week, AJ is feeling good, got the crowd behind him. We will not be taking on Ospreay this week, as we take on the likes of the well-beloved Curry Man. Now granted, I have Christopher Daniels in this universe mode. I have Curry Man, who allegedly happened to be Chris Daniels, so we're gonna act like those are two different personas in this. And I still gotta get Shark Boy, which is also believed to be Christopher Daniels. That man was very versatile and did not get a lot of credit for his work in TNA, but trust me, I will be the person that makes sure he does. Now granted, taking on Curry Man, this is pretty easy. It's simple. You know, don't gotta really do the most. He was a decent superstar, but he was definitely not the guy to be worried about in terms of TNA. Like he helped make the X Division pretty competitive, pretty good with his high flying ability and snazzy dance moves, but ultimately he was not the guy to really push to the top, especially since he didn't do a lot of talking. Shark Boy, on the other hand, did a lot of talking, which is why he was a champ at one point. And the crowd just really loved him and got behind him. But as you can see, I'm still locked in. Phenomenal forearm to the likes of Curry, man. And we're gonna go ahead and end the match right here. AJ picks up the win. Ospreay jumps in the ring to jump my guy. Obviously getting payback for last week. We're gonna drop a steel cage on the ring, which honestly this would be perfect if we was leading up to the Lockdown pay-per-view, but that is not the pay-per-view we're leading up to. But still, much respect for it. He dropped the cage thinking he was gonna get the upper hand on AJ. AJ is literally beating the living hell out of Will Ospreay, showing him it is levels to this. Now for the next week, we have Cactus Jack versus AJ Styles. Yes, I put Cactus Jack in TNA because, come on now, like, it just makes sense. A lot of WWE legends, rejects went over to TNA during this time. Guys that basically needed a second chance, a second push went over. We had the likes of Jeff Hardy, Sabu, Raven, Booker T, Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan, who again should not have been there with what he did, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, Jeff Jarrett, Christian, Sting. Like, the list is endless. Now granted, I'm able to beat, I was in the process of trying to beat Cactus Jack, but Ospreay jumps in, interrupts the match, which leads to an after the bell brawl between me and Ospreay. This feud is cooking so far. We're looking like we're heading towards a all-time classic of a pay-per-view match between the two. And AJ is continuing to show that this is my company. You came over to my company as a fan of me. And if you wanna beat a big dog, you wanna show me something, prove it to me. Prove that you're worth the energy. I'm pushing for a title match, and Ospreay is basically getting in the way of that, making things a lot more difficult than they have to be, which is basically prolong the process for AJ to ultimately move on to the next step. Now granted, phenomenal forearm to Ospreay, but that's not gonna really put him down. He's not knocked out, so we're gonna hit him with a Styles Clash to basically end this little segment. So after 2 matches where I've basically proven myself, thinking that Ospreay wouldn't be a problem, but he is, we finally get another match between Ospreay and AJ on Thursday. How this wasn't booked as a main event, I don't know, but regardless, this is good. Still turns out to be a great contest. Every match that is put on between these two has been great so far. Ospreay has been good competition for me as I continue to learn controls, ways to fight, ways to utilize my player to his best ability. When it comes to other superstars that will be followed during this TNA series, because I'm gonna do a lot with TNA, I really don't care for WWE like that. Just given that WWE had good storylines, but I feel like TNA was way more gritty, way more like, I guess you could say it felt less corny than WWE. WWE had its feuds in the early 2000s for sure, but I just feel like TNA did not get a lot of credit for the storylines they definitely pushed. Be on the lookout for guys like Jeff Hardy. Be on the lookout for guys like RVD. I feel like his world title run was very underrated in TNA, as well as Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy had an amazing title run that just ultimately got to be plagued by his own drug addiction. And I feel like that also hurt TNA's ratings in a way because of how he messed up. And I think that's why guys in TNA were really like upset with him due to the culture that they built. You know, they were building TNA into that second legitimate number 2 to WWE. Because we all know WWE would never be overtaken as the one. That's why I don't understand why AEW has gone so hard in trying to make this happen. And as you can see right here, Ospreay, I kicked out of his signature, thought it would be cool. He hits me with I forget what the move is called, but definitely hits me with his finisher. Knocks me off. Not gonna lie, tough to lose this match. I was definitely trying to keep Son and little broing Ospreay, and he, gives a glance back at AJ. At this point, I thought he was gonna attack him, which I stand corrected. He's gonna grab a ladder from under the ring. Don't know what the purpose of grabbing the ladder was for, but we could just see the hatred. At this point, Ospreay does not like AJ. AJ doesn't like Ospreay. So next week, after getting slammed with the ladder, AJ said, you know what? I'm going to hit you where it hurts. I'm going to take you out. And that's exactly what he does, going for the leg. Now, granted, in this match, I probably should have went for more leg-based attacks to kind of keep working an angle. But honestly, I was just concerned with beating up Ospreay to make AJ look more good. Now, this is the one thing I'm struggling with so far, so if anybody can help me in the comments, that would be nice. Because when I go to the apron, I want to be able to do springboard attacks because I know he has them. But regardless, getting hit with a finisher out of nowhere from Ospreay, I'm gonna lose back-to-back weeks to Ospreay, even after taking out his leg. Like taking out his left leg. I was trying to cause serious injury to Ospreay, yet he's able to still walk like nothing is going on. And he's gonna be able to walk out of the ring standing tall once again. Like at this point, we need a championship involved between the two. But again, next week we're gonna have Ospreay and AJ one final time to kind of settle things once and for all before we move on to the next feud for AJ. And we just start fighting outside the ring. Now granted, the fact that the ref started the match outside the ring is crazy, because I wanted the chance to beat him up with steel chair, maybe a kendo stick. I wanted some of that action before the bell starts, so I could really take out my frustrations on Ospreay. Didn't work out that way, but we finally get back into the ring. Honestly, AJ is cooking now. We got a 450 splash, which I feel like is a great signature to basically capture my man's highlight ability. Styles Clash to Will Ospreay to end this once and for all. AJ is gonna walk away victorious, head held high. Next step for us is to definitely make that push for the X Division title. So next video, be on the lookout for that. If you like this video, please let me know. Let me know what else you want to see potentially with AJ Styles and who he could feud with. Abyss is also on the table, so be on the lookout for that. Subscribe, please.